Well, the official unemployment rate remained steady last month, but there remains pressure in the economy. Interest rates are expected to go up at least one more time this year, if not today. Inflation remains high, but the labour market remains tight. The housing and construction sector is the canary in the coal mine. Gough Recruitment is one of the biggest recruitment firms in the Southern Hemisphere for property, development and construction, and its CEO, Joel Barbuto, joins me here in the studio. Joel, thanks so much for your time and welcome. First of all, you've got a front-facing view of the economy. Before we get into the details of your annual report, what are you seeing in the economy? Where are we headed?
Overall, it's holding up. We're definitely seeing a candidate shortage in the market. I suppose it's specifically if you pull that apart between candidates and clients, we're definitely seeing, clients that are wanting to lower salaries and bring things in line, and candidates that are still have high expectations and salaries rising. So there's a bit of a disconnect between a client and a candidate right now. But overall, there's still plenty of vacancies. There are small categories that we're seeing a little bit patchy, but overall, it's still very buoyant.
What about that patchiness, if you like, in those categories?
Specifically building, construction, development, I suppose, funding for developers, and then into the builders and construction. So we're seeing some areas, the operational roles, where that is increasing and talent is available for clients. But overall, still fairly tight. It's holding very well.
Okay, so we saw the unemployment rate stay steady last month. The demand for skilled workers is still there. There's a big migration debate going on at the moment. Can those skilled jobs be filled locally? What are you seeing there? Are you finding that more difficult?
Yes. I mean, ultimately, we would like clients to be able to look outside the square and look at talent that has transferable skills. But ultimately, clients would really like to hire like for like. We are seeing visas relaxing and rules internationally, so that is helping absorb some of that low unemployment. But still, there's just not enough quality talent out in the market.
Give us an idea of how big that gap is, that skills gap.
I would say that, normally we would have 2 to 3 CVs on a short list, where now you'd be lucky to have one, and you'd be advising a client that recruitment process is going to push out. It's going to take time to find the best available talent.
Yeah, right. So it's still an employer's market, an employee's market, I would say. So what are the kind of things post-COVID, I guess there's still a hangover here, what are employees demanding and what are employers having to acquiesce to?
I suppose, look, it's the number one topic, the flexibility in the workplace and working from home. We are still seeing candidates that are demanding this, 2 to 3 days from home, and we've got clients that are still really pushing the return to work as much as possible. But there is a pushback, and talent is actually happy to forego a part increase to be able to get the flexibility. So we're actually seeing that trend too, where someone may take less if they can not commute to the office for 3 hours a day. But as we talk to talent, why this surge is happening is a lot of it is around the cost of getting to work and the cost of being at work. So public transport, trains, buses, food, coffees, all those costs or those incidentals that you get getting to work. So people like to come to work for the most part, but they're saving $200-300 a week by not coming to work.
Yeah, and the time it takes to travel, it's that productivity question. Are people more productive at home? Are they less productive because they've got to, they lose that time in travel? But what this does as well, it changes the equation when it comes to CBDs like Sydney. If people are working home from more, it changes the dynamic in a CBD, changes commercial real estate, I imagine.
Correct.
Are you seeing anything there?
Yes, well, look, obviously all the major landlords and the privates are, really encouraging people back to the office for the obvious reason. We need foot traffic, we need people in the food courts, we need people shopping. That's very good for the economy. And I think that most people would suggest that Mondays and Fridays are the quiet days, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are when we see people in the offices. But there is a education there, but also specifically I think it's the L&D, the learning and development that's missing around the office, and just the stimulation. So look, some organisations are really pushing this sort of 4 days, but it's still a huge amount of pushback, and talent, they just really want to be at home a little bit more.
Yeah. And have you seen, your annual report says you have seen wages growth across the sector in the last year, about 4% on average?
Yeah, on average that would be correct, and that's just a simple supply and demand.
Yeah.
If there's vacancies around, the clients can't fill it, then they have to pay more for the best available talent.
Okay, Joel Barbuto, good to see you.
Thank you, Laura.